Welcome to Lifespan. Today, prepare for a truly bizarre journey. We're diving into the life of a woman who, while she repeatedly stared death in the face on the high seas and somehow lived to tell the tale, Violet Jessop. You might know her as Miss Unsinkable.
That's right. And we've got testimonies detailing her absolutely extraordinary experiences across three infamous ship disasters. We're talking the RMS Olympic collision, the sinking of the supposedly unsinkable RMS Titanic, and then the wartime sinking of the HMHS Britannic.
It's almost unbelievable. So our mission today really is to try and understand how one person could possibly survive all of that. We'll unpack the events, the unbelievable odds, and the legacy of this truly unique life. Forget what you learned in school. This is history's unhinged side.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Violet Constance Jessop.
Yeah.
She was born in Argentina back in 1887. Her parents, William and Catherine, were Irish immigrants. And right from the start, there's something striking. As a child, she gets this severe bout of tuberculosis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and doctors basically gave her months to live. But she defied that, survived it.
So an early brush with mortality then, and she just bounced back.
Pretty much. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If that early resilience sort of set the stage for later events.
Could be. Okay, so born in Argentina, beats TB, then what? Her father passes away when she's, what, 16?
Yes, that's right. And after his death, the family moves to England.
Okay.
Then, a few years later, she's 21, it's 1908, and she decides to follow in her mother's footsteps.
Yeah.
Becomes a stewardess.
Ah, okay, so it ran in the family.
It did. She started with the Royal Mail line on the Orinoco.
But getting that first job wasn't straightforward, was it? I read somewhere she actually had to make herself look less attractive.
That's the story, yes.
Yeah.
This is a fascinating detail, isn't it?
It really is.
Apparently, at 21, she was considered maybe too young or, well, too pretty for the job by some standards back then.
Gives you a real snapshot of the times, doesn't it? The biases.
Absolutely. But she was determined, clearly. She got the job. And life as a stewardess then. It was tough.
How tough are we talking?
We're talking like 17-hour days sometimes.
17 hours.
Yep. And the pay was modest. About £2 and 10 shillings a month.
Wow. So long hours, low pay. But she stuck with it.
She did. Despite the hardships, something about life at sea really captivated her. She even got a marriage proposal pretty early on in her career, though nothing came of it then.
So there was definitely an allure there, despite the grind. But I found it interesting that she was initially hesitant about working for the White Star Line specifically.
Ah, yes. That's a crucial point.
Why was that?
Well, her reluctance, based on the testimony, seems to stem from concerns about the North Atlantic route. It was known for being harsh, rough weather.
Okay.
And also, the passengers on the big White Star liners had a reputation for being quite demanding.
So she had reservations, and looking back now, knowing what happened, that hesitation feels almost like a foreshadowing, doesn't it?
It really does. It wasn't just, choosing between companies. There was a genuine apprehension there about the specific dangers, maybe. A feeling.
Right. Okay, so fast forward a bit, it's 1911. Despite those feelings, she does join the White Star Line. Starts on the RMS Majestic.
That's Royal Mail Steamer Majestic, yeah.
And then transfers to their flagship, the RMS Olympic, which was, at the time, the largest civilian liner in the world.
Exactly. The biggest and the best.
And this is where her bizarre journey really starts to accelerate. September 20th, 1911, the Olympic collides with a British warship.
That's right, the HMS Hawk, near the Isle of Wight.
A collision involving the biggest liner in the world?
That sounds major.
Oh, it was. Both ships were significantly damaged. The Hawk's bow was smashed up badly. The Olympic got 2 big holes below the waterline, started flooding.
Boy.
But neither ship sank, and incredibly, no one died.
Wow.
The Olympic, even with the damage, managed to get back to port on its own steam. It says something about how these ships were built, I suppose.
Definitely. But here's the thing that gets me. Such a huge event, you'd think it would feature prominently in her story. But Violet Jessop, she doesn't really mention it in her memoirs, does she? No, she doesn't. Which is really curious, isn't it?
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Was it just overshadowed later? Or was she just stoic about it? Like, well, we survived, move on.
It could be any of those things. Maybe the later events, the sinkings, were just so much more traumatic that the Olympic collision faded in significance for her. Or maybe it was that stoicism you mentioned. No lives lost, so perhaps not worth dwelling on in her narrative. Or maybe just a choice she made when writing her memoirs, focusing on the bigger tragedies.
It's strange, though. And that damage to the Olympic, That actually delayed the maiden voyage of its sister ship.
The Titanic.
Wow.
Exactly, setting the stage for the next chapter.
Which brings us, to April 1912. Her friends convince her, apparently, that working on the brand new RMS Titanic would be a wonderful experience.
Uh-huh. The allure of the newest, grandest ship.
So at 24, she transfers, boards the Titanic on April 10th. And this ship, I mean, the hype was incredible, right? Practically unsinkable.
Oh, absolutely. That was the public perception. Driven by the engineering marvels, especially those watertight compartments, everyone believed it was unsinkable.
That belief was so strong, those compartments were supposed to contain any flooding.
Right. The design was meant to isolate breaches. But the flaw, the fatal flaw, was that the dividing walls didn't go all the way up to the top deck.
Ah.
So when the iceberg hit on April 14th and breached too many compartments, the water just spilled over from one to the next, like an ice cube tray filling up.
Leading to the sinking in the early hours of April 15th. Just horrific.
Truly.
And Violet, amidst all that chaos, she's ordered on deck to help passengers.
Yes, specifically to model behavior for non-English speaking passengers. Show them how to put on life vests, what to do.
That says something about her, doesn't it? Being seen as calm, capable even then.
It really does. She must have projected some level of composure. Eventually, she was ordered into lifeboat number 16, and this is where her account gets really specific and quite moving. She recalled a ship's officer. She later identified him as 6th Officer James Moody, handing her a baby just as she got into the lifeboat.
A baby in the middle of all that.
Yes, a baby bundle placed in her arms. She held onto it all night in the lifeboat.
Incredible. And she survived, obviously, rescued by the Carpathia the next morning. What happened with the baby?
Well, on the deck of the Carpathia, she said a woman rushed up to her, grabbed the baby without saying a word, and just disappeared into the crowd. She assumed it was the mother.
Wow. What a moment. Just wordless relief, I suppose. But I remember reading there's a bit of a historical puzzle here about the baby in Lifeboat 16.
Ah, yes. That's the discrepancy. The official records for Lifeboat 16, the passenger list compiled afterward, only mention one baby.
Okay.
An infant named Azad Thomas. And the records state he was actually entrusted to another passenger, a woman named Edwina Trout, and later reunited with his mother on the Carpathia.
Not Violet.
Not according to the official list. It raises questions, Was Violet's memory perhaps clouded by the immense trauma? It happens.
Understandable.
Or was there another baby, somehow unrecorded? Or maybe baby was her description for a very young child, not technically an infant? It's one of those historical details that remains a bit mysterious. We have a very clear testimony, and then we have the records.
A small mystery within a massive tragedy. Okay, so she survives the Titanic disaster. You'd think that would be it for anyone in the sea, wouldn't you?
You absolutely would. Most people would probably never set foot on a ship again.
But not Violet Jessop.
Not Violet Jessop. During World War I, she signed up as a nurse with the British Red Cross. And where did she end up serving?
Don't tell me. Back on a ship.
Back on a ship. In 1916, she was assigned to His Majesty's hospital ship, Britannic.
The Britannic? Wait, wasn't that Titanic's other sister ship, the third Olympic-class liner?
The very same. The youngest of the three sisters, repurposed as a hospital ship for the war effort.
You couldn't make this stuff up. What must she have been thinking? Going back to sea during wartime on another giant liner related to the Titanic.
It's truly baffling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Duty. That undeniable pull of the sea we talk about. Maybe just sheer determination. Whatever it was, she was back.
And then disaster strikes again. November 21st, 1916.
Yes. In the Aegean Sea, the Britannic hits a mine, likely a German naval mine. And it sank incredibly fast.
Faster than the Titanic.
Much faster. Just 55 minutes, compared to Titanic's 2 hours and 40 minutes.
55 minutes?
Yeah.
That's terrifyingly quick for a ship that size.
Extremely. And Violet's experience this time was arguably even more perilous personally.
How so?
Well, she got into a lifeboat, but the ship was sinking so fast and the engines were apparently still turning, or at least the propellers were.
Oh, no.
Her lifeboat was being sucked towards the giant churning propellers.
Oh, my God.
She realized what was happening and had to jump overboard. Dive out of the lifeboat to escape being minced.
She jumped into the water near the propellers.
She did. And she hit her head hard, possibly on the keel of the ship underwater. She suffered a fractured skull.
A fractured skull while escaping propellers during a sinking. And she still survived.
She still survives, pulled into another lifeboat. It's just astounding. The death toll on Britannic was much lower than Titanic. Thankfully, about 30 people out of over 1,000. but Violet's personal escape was incredibly close.
Unbelievable. So Olympic collision, Titanic sinking, Britannic sinking. It's after this third one that she gets the nickname, right? Miss Unsinkable.
That's when it really takes hold. You
Yep.
can see why it's almost impossible to comprehend surviving all three.
So how do people explain it? What are the theories? Is it just insane luck, good luck layered on top of incredibly bad luck?
Well, sheer luck, or maybe statistical anomaly, has to be part of it, doesn't it? The odds are just astronomical.
Right.
But people also point to her character, that resilience we talked about. Accounts suggest she remained relatively calm under pressure. Maybe that helped her make the right decisions.
Maybe. What else?
Some people look to her faith. She was devoutly Catholic. Did she believe she had a guardian angel? Perhaps. Then there are more superstitious takes. Was she somehow cursed to be near disasters but blessed to survive them? Or even a harbinger? Though that seems unfair.
Then isn't there another person who also survived all three? A crew member?
Yes, you're thinking of Arthur John Priest, the stoker, often called the unsinkable stoker. He was also on the Olympic during the collision, survived the Titanic, and survived the Britannic sinking too.
Wow. So it wasn't just Violet. What does that suggest?
Yeah.
Anything.
That's a great question. Does it mean certain roles, like stoker or stewardess, place people in specific locations or situations that slightly improve survival odds? Or maybe, like you said, there's just something about probability. Lightning striking twice or even 3 times for a very small number of people. It definitely adds another layer to the whole bizarre story.
It really does. So her legacy, obviously, it's huge. She wrote her own memoir, right? Titanic Survivor.
Yes, which is invaluable. A first-hand account, not just of the disasters, but of life aboard those liners.
And her story has seeped into popular culture, too. Isn't there a character in James Cameron's Titanic film that's thought to be inspired by her?
There is. The stewardess who calmly demonstrates the life vests during the sinking. Many believe that character drew inspiration from accounts of Violet's demeanor.
Makes sense. And her experience has probably influenced other portrayals, too, like in the earlier film, A Night to Remember.
Very likely. Plus, she's appeared as a character in plays, like Iceberg Right Ahead, and even in fiction, like Omakatsu's novel, The Deep.
Her story just keeps getting told. Why do you think it resonates so much?
I think it's that core theme of human resilience against overwhelming odds. She wasn't just, there. She faced these horrors head on and survived. It makes you think about what people are capable of enduring. It sort of challenges our ideas about fate, maybe.
Definitely. Okay, let's dive into some of the smaller details, the trivia. There's that story about her toothbrush.
Ah, yes. I love that one. Apparently, she regretted forgetting her toothbrush when she had to abandon the Titanic.
Right.
So when she was packing for the Britannic, she made sure to pack her toothbrush this time, just in case.
It's such a human detail, isn't it? Almost darkly funny, but so practical. It makes her seem very real amidst these epic disasters.
Exactly. It grounds the story. Then there's that other anecdote, though it's unverified.
A phone call.
Yeah. The story goes that late in her life, she received a phone call from a woman claiming to be the baby she rescued from the Titanic.
Whoa. Did she believe it? Is it true?
We don't really know. It could be true, or it could be one of those stories that grows around a legend, an urban myth element. It adds to the mystique, though.
It certainly does. And her personal life after all this.
Well, she did marry eventually in her late 30s, but she described it herself as brief and disastrous. She never had children.
And thinking back to her initial reluctance to join the Titanic crew, that just hangs there, doesn't it? That feeling of foreshadowing.
It really does. It adds another layer of what if to her story.
And despite everything she went through, she kept working at sea. For how long?
For decades. Julie retired in 1950 when she was 63 years old.
63. After the Olympic, Titanic, and Britannic, she spent almost her entire working life at sea. That's dedication. Or something else.
It's remarkable, isn't it? That connection to the sea must have been incredibly deep, powerful enough to overcome even those traumas.
And she lived a long life after retiring.
She did. She passed away peacefully in 1971, at the age of 83. Congestive heart failure. Finally, no more shipwrecks.
Finally at peace on dry land. What a life.
It truly defies belief, doesn't it? Surviving those 3 specific events. Was it luck, fortitude, divine intervention, something else entirely? What stands out most to you when you think about her bizarre journey now?
For me, honestly, it's that resilience coupled with the decision to keep going back, to face that environment again and again. It just speaks volumes about her character, I think. It makes you wonder about the limits of human endurance.
And consider the sheer improbability we keep coming back to. 1 person, 3 historical maritime disasters. Does hearing her story challenge your own ideas about fate or destiny at all? It really makes you pause and think about the patterns, or lack thereof, in life.
It absolutely does. It feels like something out of fiction, but it was real.
Yeah.
So if listeners want to continue their own bizarre journey into Violet Jessop's life, where should they look?
Oh, there's plenty out there. Encyclopedia Titanic is a great resource. The Imperial War Museums actually have an oral history recording with Violet herself, which is incredible.
Wow, her actual voice.
Yes, her memoir, Titanic Survivor, is essential reading, obviously. Lots of documentaries on YouTube touch on her story.
Yeah.
And even places like the Titanic subreddit have discussions about her. Lots to explore.
Great resources.
And maybe here's a final thought to leave everyone with. Beyond the headlines, beyond the sinkings and the survival, what does Violet Jessop's long career at sea, stretching decades after these traumas, really tell us? What does it say about our capacity as humans to adapt, to persevere, and maybe even find a sense of home or purpose in the most unlikely, even dangerous of places?
That's a powerful thought to end on, the human capacity to keep going, even after staring into the abyss multiple times. Violet Jessop, Miss Unsinkable. What a story.